They listen when you respect them. They listen when they feel respected. They listen when they feel heard. They want to please a leader. It's just natural. They don't listen to someone they don't respect. That's all it is. They just don't respect you. They love you, but they just don't respect you. You got to earn that. Parents seem to think that just comes automatically. You got to work for that. You got to earn that. Hello, welcome to the BratBusters Parenting Podcast. I have no idea what we're talking about today because that's my daughter's job. She knows exactly what we'll be talking about today. And by the way, I'm Lisa Bunnage. I'm a parenting coach, a mom, and a grandmother. And this is my daughter, Amy, who works with me. She does all my marketing and all my planning. She basically tells me what to do, and I sometimes do it.
Sometimes, yeah. We had a little thing yesterday. We won't talk about that.
Yeah, I can get lazy. Did you do that yet, Mom? No, I forgot. I'm in trouble, aren't I? Yes, Mom.
And I can get a little bossy. So anyways, so today's episode is actually going to be on why kids don't listen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is something.
That's a big one, by the way.
I know.
Okay, not in the way that I think most people will expect, but go on.
Do you have anything you want to talk about before we get into the questions?
Not now.
Not now?
Not now. Let's get going and it'll come. You know me. It'll come flying out.
Okay.
You know what I'm thinking, don't you?
I do. We
Okay.
actually just mentioned a little earlier. So, okay, we'll just get right into the questions. The first one here is Kate from the United States. How do you not repeat yourself? We have a 3 and 6-year-old, and my husband and I get the most frustrated and upset when they don't listen. We tried the behavior board, but maybe we made the task and rule too broad. Our 6-year-old's rule was listen the first time. It's hard to follow up on this for everything when we feel we have to repeat ourselves so much. I just smiled when I said that because my mom, you have feelings about this, I know.
I don't have feelings. I just laughed a little. That's all. We'll get into it. Okay, is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But now you're very right in that you said you put down it's too broad. Listen the first time. That's in the attitude department. And you know what you're saying? You're basically saying you respect me even though I'm not a leader. You're demanding respect, but you haven't earned it yet. The reason why kids don't listen to parents is because you're not a leader. You haven't earned it. You want their respect, but without having to put in the work. That's what I was kind of laughing at, was like everyone expects that. You just listen to me, but you're not a leader. So I teach leadership. Okay, should I tell the classroom story? The classroom situation?
The classroom analogy?
It's such a good analogy. And I'm lousy at analogies if you've been following me for a while. This one's a good one. It's the first good one I ever came out with. Anyway, this is how I look at leadership parenting. Let's say you've got 30 kids and there's 3 different classrooms. And each kid, all these 30 kids move from one class to the next, okay? The first class they're in is the pleaser style teacher. So they're with that teacher. They're a disaster. They don't respect that teacher when the teacher's there, when the teacher leaves the room, or when the teacher looks down at any time. They don't have no respect for that teacher. Now, those same 30 students move to the next class. Now, the next class has the authority style teacher. Parenting's different than teaching, but it's still a lot of it's sort of similar. So I'm using this analogy. Now, those kids are good with the authority when the authority is watching. When the authority teacher looks down, they're naughty. And when the authority teacher leaves the room, they're naughty. Okay? Now, those same 30 kids move. And by the way, authority, the reason why they're good when the authority is looking is because it's a fear-based, intimidation-based style of teaching or leading kids. Anyway, so this is what I teach. I teach leadership. Those same 30 kids move into the other class. Now, this is the one where the teacher is a leader. Those same 30 children are good with the teacher when she's in the room or he's in the room. They're good when the teacher looks down. They're good when the teacher leaves the room. And also when the teacher comes back, they'll brag about how good they were. See, we were just waiting for, aren't we good students? They're so proud of themselves with the leader. Now, are they going to listen the first time to a leader? Yes. Why is that? Because you're building up their self-esteem. Children who don't respect their parents have low self-esteem. They're not going to listen to you. They're not going to respect themselves. They have low self-esteem. So I just teach leadership parenting. So when you put down listen the first time, you're expecting results that you're not earning. And it doesn't work. And we don't put attitude anyway. It is way too broad. So I would put down something like this. I would put down put your shoes in the cubby within 5 minutes of arriving home. So in other words, put your shoes away when you get home. And that's it. That's how you start earning your leadership wings. That's how you do it. And then you're on there too, remember? So yeah, you're no yelling. If you yell, you have to maybe do their chores or put their shoes away, or you have to play hide and seek with them or something. So yeah, keep it very, very simple and keep it actionable. But you got to earn that. You got to earn. If you want them to listen to you, you have to earn that.
But I want to say I understand where the parent's coming from, because before you explained it to me, like I would have thought the same thing. I would have thought that you could have put don't listen on the behavior board.
Yeah, and I get that, but they listen once you earn that. You don't become a leader because they listen. They listen because you're a leader. Did that make any sense? Did it? I'm not sure. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? The chicken or the egg? The leadership or the listening? The leadership comes first. The listening comes second. There you go. That made sense, didn't it? Yeah, that made sense. You got to lead first, and then they will listen.
Yeah. And that kind of falls into the not repeating yourself. Is that
I would never repeat myself because, for one thing, I don't really tell kids what to do. I would say if I want them to get dressed because we're leaving, I'd say we're leaving in 10 minutes. They would know to get dressed. So that's how it went with my kids. Like I never really told them what to do. I would tell them when we're leaving, but I don't remember ever telling your kids what to do. Do you?
That's actually true. I feel like it was the expectations were there. So we knew what leaving meant.
We
knew we had to be dressed. We knew we had to.
So you just did it. Well, now what would it, I don't remember you ever not doing it though. Like why would you just do it? Because you come from my kid's perspective. I came from me perspective. So why would you not ever need to be told what to do?
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I didn't feel like there was a choice.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I said, we're leaving. So I never said, can you please get ready? I never talked like that. I just said, okay, we're leaving in 10 minutes. And they'd race around getting their chores done and get dressed. That was it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There was no choice. It was just, it's happening.
Yeah. But there was no fear or anything. It was just, it's happening.
No, not in a scared way. It was just, that's what's happening.
Yeah. I just said it like it was. It's like in school, the teacher says, okay, we're going to have lunch at noon. It's just happening. It's not up for debate. It's just happening. Is there any fear around that or intimidation? No, it's just, we got to go, or we got to have dinner now, or it was just happening. I don't know how to explain that in Greek. I know what it was, but I don't quite know how to simplify that. But it was just, I had respect and they knew. But it wasn't even, you weren't doing it for me. You just knew because we were leaving.
And I want to make it clear, like, I feel like I had a lot of autonomy in other decisions. So it's not that like you were just telling us what to do. It's just like,
no. And they had a lot of say in like what they did extracurricular wise, or when we were playing, or what we'd have for lunch, or, I'd ask them, but they weren't, because they had so much control over their own lives, they made responsible decisions.
And I guess if I'm trying to like analyze it, is I felt listened to as well.
Unfortunately, she did talk a lot, and I did listen a lot.
I'm sure a lot of the time you zoned me out, but you were
I'm
honest.
Sorry, what were you saying?
You were honest about it too, if you did.
Oh, very. She'd say, so what do you think? I said, oh, I wasn't listening. I remember that. Mom. Yeah. Then I'd laugh and she'd go away crying. No, you didn't. You laughed too. Okay,
I think we'll go into the next question. So Lawanda from the United States. I have 2 boys, ages 3 and 4. They're very hyperactive and crazy anyways, but they usually listen pretty well when it's just us at home. However, as soon as we have company or someone walks through the front door, they lose all self-control and become very dysregulated. They will do things they wouldn't normally do, such as breaking certain rules, jumping on the couch, telling us no, etc. They can literally go from playing quietly and calmly, having a snack, to running around in circles as soon as we have company. How can I manage this behavior?
Well, do you know why that is, Amy?
I don't know why.
Well, because you're obviously a different parent when there's other people around. Was I different when anyone else was around?
No.
God, no. I was exactly the same mother, no matter where we were, who was around. But yeah, it just says to me that it's sending the message that you're different when there's other people around. So that's what that is. Pretty much guaranteed. Why would they be different? Remember, children are reacting to you. Right? That's what they're doing there. So they're reacting to your lack of leadership or whatever. Or maybe there's another option. You could be spoiling them with attention. They have your constant attention when no one else is around. You cater to them, you give into whatever they want. So that's the other side. You could be doing that, and then when there's other people around, you don't do that. So you're afraid to discipline them when there's other people around, or you're just not giving them everything they want when there's other people around. It has to be one of those two. More than likely, it's the fact that you're too embarrassed to discipline. That's usually the way it is. 3 and 4. Let me think. Yeah, it could be the other though with that young age actually, but yeah. Okay, that's what I'm guessing here. Okay.
Okay. Next
Oh,
question.
and my point is be the same. That was the end of that. Is be the same. Be consistent. 100% consistent. And it doesn't mean that you have to discipline them right there in the moment, but you just say, I'll tell you what, I didn't like that. We'll discuss it later. They'll understand that later means there's going to be a consequence later. It won't work the first day probably when you do that, but then they'll eventually learn that, oh, so when I do get in trouble when there's other people around, there's going to be a consequence later. So that's what's going to stop them in the future.
Okay.
So, by the way, the reason why I'm saying that is you don't want to be disciplining your kids when there's other people around, right? It makes them uncomfortable, you uncomfortable. Yeah, you don't want to be doing that. So that's why you do defer the punishment, but you mention it. We'll be discussing this later. Okay, sorry, I'm all done.
No, I do remember you doing that a few times with me.
Not much.
Not much, but I do remember that. It's like, we'll talk about this later.
Yeah, we'll discuss this later. And the kids would go, oops.
Oh, the sweating began. Okay, Summer from Palestine. My daughter, who is 6 years old, acts fine with me and listens to me without any pushback, as in throwing fits. But as soon as she is around her dad, she becomes super sensitive, pouting at the littlest things and crying over anything. Why does that happen with her dad, and how can we fix this?
Well, it could be a few things for that. She might be afraid of him. Is he the authority? Does he parent through fear and intimidation, the authority style, my way or the highway? Does he get angry? Does he yell a lot? Does he scare her? It could be that. Or is he just a total pushover and gives in to all her demands, and then she becomes a whiny little pain in the butt just to get him to roll over and do whatever she wants? So those are the two options. You're going to have to decide which one that is.
Okay.
Why did you react like that? Like, ooh.
I just wasn't expecting that. I didn't know why.
Oh, what would you have thought?
I wouldn't have
Never
thought
mind,
anything.
she wouldn't have thought of it.
For clarity, I don't have any kids, and I know very little about kids.
Yeah,
so.
She's never really looked after kids, except for in her job. She did a gymnastics thing with little kids, but she's never really been in the mothering, one-on-one with kids.
Very different.
Yeah, it is very different. That's why teaching is different from parenting. It's one-on-one relationship building with kids is different, which is what parenting is.
Okay. The second to last one is Jessie from the United States. My child just turned 3. I'm curious on your opinion on using countdown method to get a child to complete a simple task. For example, if I say it's time to put our shoes on, she may not listen right away, but if I start counting, or just say I'm going to start counting, she immediately starts putting her shoes on. So I know it's not that she didn't hear me, because as soon as I start counting, she does exactly what I asked. I'm not sure why it works, but it does. I'm just not sure if this is a good approach, because is she doing it out of fear? I would love to hear what you think.
Well, she's playing you. Okay. What I would do is I would say, we're going to be leaving in 5 minutes. So you've got 5 minutes to get your shoes on. Start a timer. So it's not the countdown. The countdown happened because the way she worded that, she'd already asked her to do it and she wouldn't. Now you're going into the threat. So you see, yeah, she's playing you. She's like, I really am in charge. I'm just going to make you beg, is basically what she's doing. I'm going to make you count down. So she's controlling you. So I would just say, we're going to be leaving in 5 minutes. So you got to have your shoes on. And then they will eventually learn. She's 6, wasn't she?
No, just turned 3.
Just turned 3. So, okay, so she's 3. And then she will eventually learn that once you put a timer on, if what needs to be done hasn't been done by the time the alarm goes off, when you get home later on, there'll be a consequence. Just say, okay, we'll discuss that later. Don't discuss the consequence if you're leaving. Just say, we'll discuss that later. So, yeah. So start off with giving her, you talked about expectations. There was expectations growing up. You just knew what you needed to do. It's like that. Let her know what she needs to do and then let her do it or not do it. You don't ask her to do something and then she just doesn't do it. And then you have to go into this threatening. It just makes you, it's not a leader. It makes you look like, oh, it didn't work. The first thing didn't work. And now I'll try this. She's playing you. She's working you.
Yeah, you always made everything feel like it was our choice.
It was. I never told my kids what to do because I didn't care if they did it or not. Did it or not. I didn't care if they did it or not. Because if they didn't do it, then I'd say, oh, you didn't do that. So what do you think a good consequence would be? That's how it would have gone. So it's their choice. That's why I never told them what to do. I wanted them to be free thinking, have self-discipline. So I didn't have to nag them, which I never did. Why would I? I'd just come in later. I'd let them make mistakes. And then I'd come in later and say, well, that wasn't very good. So I'll tell you what, you can brush my hair for 5 minutes. Boy, they both hated brushing my hair. What did you like doing with hair, though, that I don't like doing, but you love doing?
Oh, I love curling hair.
She loves curling it and braiding it. I hate all that. I just want it brushed. So she would try and curl it and pretend, oh, such a long story. It's not really, but her brother had very long hair. And he allowed us, I think I just cut it or we just colored it. He wanted it striped. Anyway, it was funny. He was at about 16, 17. Anyway, he went through this long hair phase. I actually quite liked it. But anyway, so he agreed to let us do his hair this one day. Well, we were drooling over getting this long hair to play with, right? So we just washed it. I think I'd colored it or something. Anyway, so he said, okay, you can straighten it. We had a flat iron. So he said, okay, you can straighten it. So I know her. I know Amy. And I said, he doesn't want it curled. All she ever wants to do is curl. She loves getting a flat iron and curling hair with it. Yeah. So, and she just can't help it. Like she just has to. So I said, if I see one curl, you're not allowed to touch his hair after that. She goes, I know. She was like teenager too, right? So she's going like this. She thinks I'm not looking and she turns it just on the slightest little angle. That's it. She was banished. She had to go upstairs all pouting.
Oh, but it was such a good wave.
It was just this one little turn because I was side-eyeing her. I was watching her. And then he said, she tried to curl it. And I said, yep. And then I got to flat iron the whole head of hair. So, yeah. But
you see, it was my choice.
It was your choice. It was her choice.
I knew it too. I was like, it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, it was. This one little turn was worth it. Just missing out, eh? Mm-hmm. You'd rather that one little turn than being able to flat iron half his hair.
100%.
Interesting. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. But again, it was my choice.
Yeah. And we sure laughed at that one though. Out of here. You're out of here. Oh, shoot. I know. We were laughing. Okay.
Okay. We'll go into the final question. So Stephanie from the United States, should we forego signing up our 11-year-old daughter for soccer the next season since she isn't listening during practice? She has poor negative attitude towards it and fools around with teammates, but says she enjoys playing soccer and likes doing it for fun. Context, her stepdad is one of the coaches.
That's actually a really tough one because they have to do something. Oh, I'm assuming that because she's familiar with the coach too, that doesn't make it easier. And plus, you can't be a leader or else she wouldn't be doing that. I'd work on my leadership skills, which is just try the behavior board. And I would say, if she's still got coaching, would soccer still be going? I don't know anything about the soccer.
Soccer is usually like a winter sport.
Okay, good.
Or is it? I don't know.
I don't know. I think it is. Anyway. So, because I know there's a lot of mud and snow involved in soccer. Anyway, so I would make her finish out the season, but I would say, now you have to be good to be able to sign up again. So you have to follow the rules or whatever. But yeah, if you don't, then there'll be a consequence that, let's say for 24 hours, you've got no screens or something. I would come in with that because I don't like rude and disrespectful behavior. So I would say, if you're not good at practice, like polite and, following the rules, then there'll be 24-hour media blackout and say your choice. I would start there. If she's got quite a few left to go, I would do that. Just say that's your choice. And then, no, not fair. All you have to do is not be rude. Like, how is that not fair? How on earth is that not fair? Just be polite, follow the rules, and then you can have screens. Be rude, don't follow the rules, and there's no screens. Now, the only reason I'm saying that, she's 11. I wouldn't do that with a 4-year-old. But she's 11. So give her a choice. See how it goes. See if she still enjoys it when she's following the rules. So, but I wouldn't do that long term. I would do that for maybe 2 or 3 weeks and see how it goes. I don't actually like doing that one, but it just my instinct said she's 11. I would go with that. And her stepdad is the one doing it too, which makes a difference too. So she says she enjoys it. So let's see if she enjoys it. Then she can join again next season.
Okay, but if she can't, would you still recommend just not signing her up?
Get rid of it. Sign her up to something else. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No way would I push her into something she's not enjoying. She might just be enjoying that privilege of being the stepdaughter of the coach too and taking advantage of that. So that's why I said it's a little bit different because it's a stepdad. She could just be using that like for leverage to sort of, be a bit cheeky. So yeah, work on your leadership skills, get a behavior board and put that on the behavior board. Be polite, follow the rules during the next practice, or just go straight to 24-hour media blackout. And then say, you don't have to do that. You don't have to go to 24-hour media blackout. That's your choice. She's 11. She gets that. How could she argue that? She will. But really, she really isn't able to, but she probably will. That's okay. Just go, that's your choice.
I guess like ending on this is, why do you think listening, like this just comes up all the time, kids just not listening in general, like what do you think is the cause of this?
Okay. That I already told the classroom thing. They listen to a leader. They just do. They listen when you respect them. They listen when they feel respected. They listen when they feel heard. They want to please a leader. It's just natural. They don't listen to someone they don't respect. That's all it is. They just don't respect you. They love you, but they just don't respect you. You got to earn that. Parents seem to think that just comes automatically. You got to work for that. You got to earn that. I've worked with hundreds of kids. I worked my butt off to get respect. And I earned it. I deserved it because I worked for it. So look at it that way. It's something. Have you earned them listening to you? Have you earned respect? That's the way you should look at it. Not what's wrong with them. It's never the kids. It's always you. They're reacting to you. So if they're not listening, it's because you're missing something. That's what. Whenever I was working with kids, and I only had them for like an hour a week, right? But if they did something naughty or wrong, or teenagers, if they did something rude with me, my reaction was always the same. It was like, what am I missing here? What am I doing wrong here? Because I'm the leader, right? So look in a mirror with all this stuff. And that's actually the best news you can hear, because you can only change yourself anyway. I managed to get respect with hundreds of kids, teenagers, toddlers. Was it them? I just got them all on a good day, all those hundreds of thousands of sessions with kids. Did I just get them all? And I never worked with easy kids, by the way. No one ever said to me, here's an easy one, Lisa. They all went, good luck with this one. So I always got the chance, because that was my specialty. I was good at getting respect with kids and teenagers. So was it them or was it me? They treated me really well because I treated them with respect. That's all I teach. That's all I teach here. Give respect to get it. If they're not listening, you don't respect them enough. Are you going to ask, what is respect?
Well, I'm going to ask, I think it's nice to have something actionable. Like if you know your kids aren't listening to you, like that's a big ask, like get respect. Like that feels very overwhelming to me. Like where would you even start?
That's why I said, are you going to ask? Well, the behavior board is the training wheels with all this stuff. That starts at 3 and above. It also has a toddler section on it. And that's completely free. You can check that out in the link or wherever it turns up. So start with the behavior board. The reason is you give respect by putting yourself to a higher standard too. You're on that behavior board. If you're not on there, you're not a leader. You're just an authority. So the authority is most likely to have a behavior board just for the kids. The pleaser style parent is most likely to have a reward chart. Like if you're good, you're going to get a gold star, which is absolutely horrible. It's like saying normally you're rotten, but if you should happen to be good, you'll get a gold star. But the leader has a behavior board, an accountability chart is really what it is. And they're on it too. You have to be accountable too. That reward chart's a total disaster. Imagine if your spouse had that for you. You've been good all day today. I'm going to give you a flower. Like, think about it. Wouldn't you go, what the heck was I yesterday? It's an insult. A reward chart is actually an insult. It works in schools. That's an institution. It's not home. It's not personal. It's different. And it's not personal because there's 30 kids on it. So it's just different. But yeah, respect is about giving it, and you're on there too. That is the respect. You are on that behavior board. If you yell at them, you get punished. You have to do something nice for them. That's respect. You're accountable. I was accountable with kids all the time. Who was in trouble more than anyone in our household?
Oh, definitely you.
Me, for sure, 100%. I would promise, get off my back. I said I'll make those muffins. I promise I'll do them tonight. Oh my God, they'd get up the next morning. They were so glad I didn't make those muffins. Mom, I don't see no muffins. Her brother was the older one. He'd be doing all the talking. She'd be standing beside him, all smiles.
Backing him up.
Yeah, go. And then I'd say, oh, shoot, you're right. I forgot. I was hoping they'd forgotten, but of course they never did. And so then I'd say, okay, fine. What do you want? We'd love to go to the water slide park after school. We had a little water slide park near us, the wool shed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so that I get their suits and everything. But anyway, so yeah, I was always in trouble. Always. The kids weren't. They were a lot better behaved than I was. But that's leadership, is I was accountable. I'm very good at apologizing and making amends. And that's because I love them and I respect them. And I deserve to be making amends because I did promise to do something and I forgot to do it. So I'm very accountable.
You are?
Yeah, I am. Actually, I just finished with a client the other day, and I do 45-minute sessions now. And I forgot. I thought they were in a I thought they had a 45-minute session, but they were an older client that I'd signed up before I did that. It was 60-minute sessions. So I thought they were 45, but they actually had 60. And I thought, wow, I've gone really long. I went to 55 minutes, thinking I went 10 minutes over their 45-minute time. And then I cut them up. Oh, well, we went over time, got to go. They looked confused. And that was their very last session. So I wrote them, I said, oh, thanks for working with, and then I wrote back because they were going to sign up again. And I said, well, actually, I cut it off 5 minutes early. I messed up. So I'm going to give you an extra session for that. I'm accountable. People love it when I mess up because I make it up to them.
It's the best.
Okay, I think that's it. Is that it, sweetie?
I think we'll end there.
Okay. Thanks so much for joining us, Lisa Bunnage and her daughter Amy Bunnage. And we're just talking parenting here, BratBusters Parenting. And I think that's all I've got to say.
I don't know why you laughing. You went third person there. Lisa Bunnage and her daughter Amy Bunnage, isn't it? And my daughter Amy Bunnage.
Oh, right.
You went third person.
That woman's. Oh, I did too, didn't I?
Don't know why.
That's like that show. What was it? What show was it? Where the guy? It was on Seinfeld, and everything was third. He talked about himself like he was someone. Jimmy he said, Jimmy likes this, Jimmy likes that. So I guess I'm become Jimmy now.
Yeah, well, Jimmy's glad that you listen to the BratBusters Parenting Podcast.
Lisa's really happy that you listen. So thanks so much for joining us. We get a little bit silly here. Well, I do, but anyway, we get a little bit silly here, but that's okay. Thanks so much for joining us. You're welcome to submit your questions. They're all across. Where are they?
BratBusters.com. You'll be able to find it.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye now.
Thanks for tuning in. If you're ready to dive deeper, check out BratBusters.com to learn more about the Behavior Board, parenting courses, and private one-on-one coaching with Lisa. The information provided in this podcast is for general informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional advice. Lisa is a parenting coach, mom, and grandmother. She is not a licensed psychologist or counselor. Her services do not replace the care of psychologists or other healthcare professionals. For a full disclaimer, please visit BratBusters.com/disclaimer.